There's nothing like a warm, healthy bowl of homemade hot soup on a chilly winter's day. But who has time to make soup? The chopping, the slaving over a hot stove, not to mention the cleanup. How about if I told you we're going to make some healthy homemade soup today that is going to take minutes? And no, we're not going to open a can and throw it in the microwave. You don't believe me? Let us show you as once again Blender Chef Michael Lamange is here. Let's go ahead and learn his secrets for a quick meal on a cold day.
Okay, today we're going to show you a delicious, healthy alternative to fast food. You know, part of the problem today is we just don't have enough time to access the nutrition that we need to make something wholesome and delicious in the comfort and convenience of our own home, so we resort to the fast food line. You know, get a quick meal into the kids, get them off to school. You know, we're always moving around trying to get, but of course, healthy food has become such a priority. We're going to show you how to make a delicious, hot tortilla soup in just minutes in a high-speed blender, which actually is going to heat the soup with just the friction created by the speed of the blades. So there's no heating element in this unit. It's a very good quality high-speed blender. Today we're using a Vitamix machine. This is my personal preference. Now we're going to start off our hot tortilla soup today with a couple of tomatoes. Now as you can see, I'm just going to put the tomatoes in whole. Of course they're organic, and as long as everything's washed well, we just throw it right in. We're going to put a little bit of pepper in there. And I'm going to take some zucchini. We're going to use a little yellow squash. Now, of course, the great thing about this recipe is you don't have to have all the exact ingredients I have here. You don't even have to use the same ingredients I have here. We're simply using what we have in the fridge. What's disposable? What do we have available to us? I have a little yellow squash. Now, of course, garlic is really high on our health list. We're going to put a piece of garlic in there. Now I'm going to cut up some of these scallions. And I'm going to use some of these scallions later to garnish the dish after I get it hot. The bottom piece of this onion I'm going to throw right in our soup. And we're going to set this aside for later. Now I have some delicious, healthy Southwest seasoning blend here. This is similar to an organic taco seasoning. The primary ingredient in this is cumin. So we're going to add a little of this to the soup. We're going to take some organic Better Than bouillon. This is a low sodium vegetarian bouillon. I'm going to use my celery stock. Here's an interesting little trick. We're going to measure exactly 1 tablespoon of bouillon. You see how exact that was? And we're going to cook the utensil. One less thing we have to wash, right? The idea is saving time here. So now we're going to take and slice a little bit of onion, put some onion in the soup. This is going to be hot, wholesome, delicious, nutritious, great way to get a hot meal. It's going to take about 4.5 minutes to process and heat in this particular blender, which would give me actually enough time to do a delicious sandwich. So we would have soup and a sandwich in just, 4 or 5 minutes. Of course, cabbage is always good in a soup. We're going to go ahead and put a little cabbage in there. And since this is a Southwest recipe, a tortilla soup, which by the way I did dress for the occasion, we're going to add a little citrus to our soup. So we're going to put a nice piece of lemon and just a little bit of heat to give it that added spice that we like in a tortilla soup. I'm going to add some jalapeno. So that's the primary ingredients. I'm going to texture the soup once I heat it. We're simply going to add some water to the soup now. And this is going to be about, 30 ounces or so of water. So we're going to end up with close to a half a gallon of soup. I'm not going to dirty a pot or a pan. And this is going to be ready in just minutes. Now I'm going to get this soup hot, which takes about 4.5 minutes. And we'll be back to show you how we actually texture the soup. Okay, the soup is ready. Now we're just going to add a little bit of texture. See, it's piping hot. Now for our textures, I'm going to show you a little trick. In the event I did have some cooked meat, for example, some chicken or a little bit of meat I have from a takeout dinner or whatever, I would just add that to the soup at this point. I'm going to turn my variable speed down, turn the machine on low, and pulse that variable speed. Now you can see I'm nicely shredding the spinach throughout the entire recipe. It would do the same thing with shredded chicken or shredded meat. Now we're just going to leave that on the low setting, and I'm simply going to add a little bit of textures to the soup. I'm going to put in some corn. Now the truth is I don't customarily open canned goods to put in my hot soup recipe. I'm usually utilizing leftovers like some cooked rice I had or some food I might have had from a nice takeout meal that I brought home. But in this case we're going to use a little corn and beans. I'm going to texture that, and just like that, folks, it's done. We're going to serve it up, add a couple more ingredients, and then we're going to sample. We simply pour it out. And there's a nice, healthy, wholesome tortilla soup. I'm going to now add some tortillas. Just going to crunch those right on the top. These beautiful little scallions I cut earlier. And then there you have it. Delicious, hot tortilla soup made in just minutes. That's fantastic.